Welcome to the Social Bee podcast with your host, Louise Brogan. Every week, Louise will be bringing you a podcast all about women entrepreneurs, talking about their challenges, their goals, and inspiring you to either start your own business or grow the business you have. Visit www.socialbeeni.com to join our community and pick up some lovely freebies to start marketing your business online today.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Social Bee podcast. And this week I am bringing you a doctor. Dr. Kathrine is one of my Social Bee Academy members, actually. And just before we hit record, we were talking all about memberships and masterminds. But Kathrine has a very interesting business based around animals, in particular dogs. Isn't that right, Kathrine?
That's correct.
So do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business and your main products and services, please?
All right. So I am Dr. Kathrine McAleese, and as Louise just said, I help actually the handlers of dogs who compete in agility. So I have two sides to my business, and that is the really quirky one. So if somebody competes in dog agility, which is where the dogs go for jumps and 3 tunnels, all that fun stuff, it's very competitive. And the handlers sometimes get freaked out, because they get nervous and their mental game needs little work. So I help them with that in one side of my business. Mm-hmm. And the other side of my business is helping women live their best lives. Well, you can basically find everything I do, from my seminars to the online classes, my podcast, everything you can find at drkathrine.com. And I'm going to spell Kathrine for you because it's a dreadful name. Spell. Okay, so it's literally Kathrine. So it's Kathrine. So if you go to drkathrine.com, you will find everything you could possibly want to know on how to connect and find out what I do.
Right, Kathrine, talk about niche business. You coach the handlers for people in the dog agility world. How on earth did you get into that as a business?
So, funny story. So I trained in the US as a marriage and family therapist. And when I moved back, my dad, my parents and I have run a dog training facility for years. So I grew up in and around dogs and dog agility and all of that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So when I first moved back from the US, I had no intentions of starting another business straight away. That was not on my radar. But I went to an agility competition and I was watching people that I knew who were clearly struggling with their nerves. So there was something in their mindset that was getting in the way. And as I was looking at these people that I knew, I became aware, actually, you know what? This is nothing to do with sports. These same things bug this particular person outside the ring. Yeah. And then I had this little light bulb of I wonder if I could help. Because for the uninitiated, in Northern Ireland, the way I always described it is, it's not that we don't talk about our problems, it's that we don't admit we might have problems that we need to talk about. So for me, coming home as a therapist, I was like, man, this is going to be a tough sell in this country. But when I was watching the sports, I was like, well, you know what? People are okay with the idea of Andy Murray or Tiger Woods or, any sports person having a sports psychologist. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder if I could bring my flavor of things. I'm not a sports psychologist, but I was like, I can see things that I can help with. So I wonder if this would be a good bridge. And I wonder if anybody would go for it and if I could help people. So essentially I threw on a little workshop and wondered if anybody would turn up. Mm-hmm. I literally was doing it in my living room because I had no clue if anyone would turn up. And so I didn't want to, go out in a cold wintry night if no one was going to show. We packed out my living room and from there, Mind to Win, the agility side of things, my business began and it's taken me all over the place. I've traveled internationally with it more than I care to remember. I've done a DVD with it. I've written for the top magazines. It's a crazy journey, but it's been fun.
It's such a hilarious story. You know what? While you're saying that about people from Northern Ireland, I was in a mastermind call and we were talking about something and I said, it was just a really, really busy time with stuff going on with my kids' school and stuff going on in my business. One of the women started to try and coach me, and I was like, "Oh, hold on a minute, I don't do that. What?" And that's exactly what you said. So, like, it's not even that I want to talk about. She says, "Oh, do you have a need to be needed?" And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" That's so really. It's just a really funny description of people from Northern Ireland. So, in America, you were working as a marriage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
family, yep.
Yep, and then you came back to Northern Ireland. So how come you didn't stay in that arena? How come you decided to start up this doggy business?
Yeah, honestly, it was one of those serendipitous things. It literally was a light bulb that I could see a way for me to help people in a preventative way.
Yeah.
You know, I looking systemically at people and their dogs, and that is a relationship. But looking at how do I help people not need to go to a therapist when I know fine well that, you know, hell will freeze over before you actually go to one, right? So, you know what I mean? So there's part of it was just, I love Northern Ireland. I love where we come from, but we are a quirky little country, let's just say. So for me, it was like, if I can help people find a non-shaming, like fun way to access the help they need, why wouldn't I do that? Particularly if it's going to prevent problems down the line, which I absolutely believe that it can. So that's really where it came from. I saw a problem and I knew I had a solution. And for me, it was a no-brainer to switch from the clinical side of things and develop this idea and just see where it led.
So how does this actually look in practice? Do people work with you one-on-one? Do they come to, like, how does it work?
It works online. Okay. We have online classes. I do some one-to-one sort of high-level coaching because I've got folks right from people who have never competed and want to be able to have the guts to get in the ring, right up to people who are world champions and want to continue being world champions.
Yeah, because you started this locally, but it's not local anymore.
No. I mean, it's literally worldwide. I mean, even just this morning in my membership my membership community online, there was someone who we're doing a challenge in July. A consistency challenge, and pick one thing that's going to take you forward towards your goals. And for reasons I haven't quite discerned yet, one of my members said, "Oh, I'm going to learn Swedish." And before I could even reply to her, somebody else in my community was like, "Well, and replied in Swedish, I can help you practice." So, and to my camp this summer in Northern Ireland, I have people coming from Washington State, from California, from the Netherlands, and also, across the UK that are coming into Northern Ireland specifically to work as a group on their mindset.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. How long are they coming for?
It's a 3-day camp. So they're literally flying thousands of miles to work for 3 days.
And then they'll probably go and see the Giant's Causeway afterwards.
Well, actually, we're going to have a tourist day before we start. So I'm going to take them up there. So,
so tell us about your camp. Tell me a little bit about your camp.
So I've done Mind to Win camps for years, and I actually have a collaborator that I've worked really well with who is out of the US, and I've worked over there, and she's worked over here, and so we are collaborating again because her specialism is the dog end of the leash and what's going on with the dog and how to help them better. And then obviously I work at the human end of the leash. So so we tag team beautifully on people. So essentially people are going to come. It's really lightweight on their dogs. The dogs don't do a whole lot of work. They just...
The dogs come too.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's no show without punch.
Okay.
So imagine, so we do some stuff that is like classroom based, if you will, and we workshop through what I call gremlin bashing. So some of the gremlins that pop up when people go to compete at different levels and in different circumstances. And then we need to put it into action because there's no point having all this theory and this lovely stuff in your head if you're not actually putting feet to it. So the whole point is if you're going to learn something, apply it. And then once you've applied it, keep applying it until you master it.
Okay.
So that's essentially it. Is like, don't you tell me you've heard me say something before, because I'm going to come straight back at you and go, well, are you doing it?
Yes.
And is it a habit? Because if it's not a habit, then we need to talk. Like, we still have some work to do, people.
So in terms of, where is, I'm just really interested in retreats and weekends and things. Where are you holding this?
We're actually holding it at my dad's dog agility place.
Brilliant.
So,
yeah. Where are they all staying?
All over the place. I have taken no responsibility for that because it's too stressful. I focus on what I do well.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, I know we have some folks who are going to very posh hotels and they're borrowing dogs. And I know that we have... I'm deadly serious.
You can borrow my dog. He needs some training. I'm serious too.
Well, we've got some great classes that I can recommend to you for dog training. So they're staying wherever feels appropriate for them. Some people are bringing their dogs. I think there's a few people camping, if memory serves. So it's really chill. For me, I want to learn and have an awful lot of fun. So I always set camp up so that we have as much fun, because I know that people can look at the mental game and go, oh my gosh, this is intimidating. And, I'm going to be expected to sit around and discuss my feelings and, sing Kumbaya with a tambourine. And it really isn't, it's a whole lot of fun. So that's how I set it up. And I'm not giving too much away, by the way, because I have a few surprises up my sleeve.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just really fascinating. So how long have you been in business, Kathrine?
So I started this business back in 2010 when I came back from the States. And then early 2018 would really have seen me start opening up the other side of things for women outside sports generally. So I started my podcast, as you know, early 2018, and started a Facebook group for that, and started building that side of things. But Mine to Win, the doggy side of things, has been going since late 2010.
I don't know how I haven't met you before now.
Because I keep moving. Like country, not just...
So if you look back at your first couple of years in business, is there anything you would do differently?
Oh yeah, plenty. Gosh, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying anything new, are you? So there's an awful lot of things I would do differently. But I guess one of the things that really stands out is I would have started to delegate sooner. I wouldn't have waited till I got bigger to start, bringing in help. My sister is now working in the business and has been for the last 3-4 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. Oh my goodness. She is a virtual assistant. She lives in Scotland. But you see just that extra person, that extra body who is running in the same direction with you is invaluable. I cannot tell you. And I'm increasingly adding to my team, because the more that I can delegate and get out of my business, because when you're working in your business, I'm quite sure you've experienced it, where it's very easy to end up working in your business rather than on your business. And so, for me, I wish I had known, frankly, to delegate, and realized how much it was costing me when I didn't delegate the things that I'm really not good at, like graphics, for example. I've got a guy in the Philippines who does graphics for me. He's amazing. I adore that guy. And he gets so much affirmation.
What do you think is your biggest achievement so far to date in your business?
My biggest achievement so far it's the volume of transformed lives and improved relationships. It really is. Whether we're talking, folks who, like, there's one of my ladies who was, for very good reasons, had become scared to, leave the house essentially, who is now driving hundreds of miles across the country to do what she wants to do. From folks that have been walked over in their job and are now standing their ground and setting boundaries and feeling good about it. Right up to world champions in that. But honestly, whether it's, just boldness in jumping into a new career, or, renewed closeness in their marriage, or becoming a world champion, those wins are always going to be my biggest achievement. There's nothing that you can give me that is as satisfying as knowing that somebody is living a better life because of some little thing that you were able to pass on, that they were able to find strength from.